I just wanna get effed up and dance. This is our only chance. Happiness is fleeting. This feeling's way too good to last. Get effed up and dance. No future and no...
Welcome to HollyWould. I'm your host, Holly Solem. I write a Substack called HollyWould, W-O-U-L-D, because I would. And I write about my life in this crazy town, my experiences with dating, celebrities, sometimes dating celebrities, ghosts, the entertainment business, all kinds of weird shit. And on this podcast, we talk to my friends and acquaintances about their Hollywood stories. And today we have my friend, Carré Kwong Callaway, aka Queen Kwong. She's a writer, a musician, an artist, a performer. She really does it all. Director, I don't know, I'm forgetting things. I'll have her tell you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Are we ready?
Here.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so
blushing
happy you're
because
here.
that intro you gave me.
I mean, I feel like I just didn't even do you justice.
Thank you. No, I do a lot. I'm tired.
Yeah.
All the time.
I know. It must be exhausting being you. Do you remember how we met? Would you like to start telling this beautiful story
about how you slept with my boyfriend?
Okay. What happened?
So this was a long time ago.
What year was it?
2005, 2006.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
This was a long time ago.
This was a long time ago. We're past it.
Clearly.
And you're probably the best thing that came out of that relationship, honestly.
Oh. Okay,
But,
so what happened?
So I was living with a musician / producer, this kind of infamous in the LA punk rock circuit, hipster circuit.
Not a rock star.
Not a rock star. No.
Not this one.
No. He was about, I don't know, 10 years older than me. I was a teenager still. I was probably like 18 or 19.
Yeah.
And he was an asshole. I think I was working 3 jobs, and he would just sit in bed all day with his sunglasses on, chain smoking, popping Norcos. Like, this is just what he did all the time. And I would go work, 3 jobs. And one day when I was leaving to go to work, you arrived, and he said that he had a co-write with you.
Yeah.
I later found out that you guys were not writing. Right?
Well, we were supposed to be.
Yeah, that was the intention.
Yeah.
But so fast forward, I don't know, 6 months, and I broke up with him, and he was very upset, and he did a series of things to get back at me.
Oh, I don't know if I know this.
Oh, yeah. He stole my shitty antenna TV, broke one of my guitars, ejaculated all over my clothes in the closet. Yeah.
That's so fucking gross.
He was pretty gross. But one of the things he texted me in like a text exchange fight when we broke up was, and I was fucking Holly Marilyn, and she makes your body look like a joke. Her body makes your body look like a joke.
Okay, we pretty much have exactly the same body.
Yes. But it did,
now that I'm looking at
I
it
know.
right here, I'm like, I don't really see much of a difference. Like, about the same height.
Yeah.
Probably same weight.
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah.
Definitely similar enough. But that was his go-to dig at me.
Okay, so that is horrific, and I'm really sorry. I'm going to tell you publicly. I'm really sorry, even though I've told you before. So I remember that day, and I remember that session vaguely. But he and I had the same manager.
Oh, yes. I remember that now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so my manager was like, oh, you should do a co-write with this person. And so I showed up at the house. Here's my version. I showed up at the house, and you were leaving, and you were like, and I was like, hey, nice to meet you. And then you left. And I didn't know you were his girlfriend. There wasn't like, you guys didn't like kiss goodbye in front of me, not that I saw. And so maybe we sat down to like work on music. Like maybe I brought my guitar. I don't remember, but I do remember right away. He gave me a Norco.
Yeah.
Like within 5 minutes. And then I don't really remember. I just remember being very high and having sex with him and being like, oh, well, I guess we didn't write a song. And my manager, our manager, being like, what'd you guys do today? And having to like make up some, oh, I don't, we started something, but da da da, like one of those situations.
Yeah.
And then I just never thought about it again until so many years later, I was with our mutual friend. I think I can say his name because
Roger?
Roger.
Yeah.
Yeah, who is an actual rock star who is in The Cure. And Roger was like, oh, my friend Carré, she hates you. I was like, why? Why? What did I do? And he's like, yeah, she hates you. You fucked her boyfriend. And I was like, when? What boyfriend? And then he told me what happened. And then I was like sick to my stomach because I felt really bad because I didn't know. An asshole.
He's an asshole.
Oh my God. And this just takes me into like men weaponizing women
Against each other.
each other. It's such a fucking common thing.
Yeah.
And I'm so sick of it. And I'm so excited that we became friends for real. So then I don't quite remember what happened, but like you and I followed each other on Instagram for a long time.
Yeah, and then I think at
And
one
then did
point,
Roger tell you that I really didn't know? And then you forgave me? Like what happened?
No, I forgave you. I mean,
You were like, I'm over it.
I was way
so
over
long
it.
ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even really associate you with that, really, But
good.
but I think we DM'd or we responded to each other's stories at some point.
Yeah.
Had some sort of DM,
Yeah, we were having like
conversation.
little DMs
Yeah.
over the years.
and we just kind of connected on a few things, and then finally got together and are friends now.
I know. And then we became best friends.
Yeah. So one of the greatest
Thank you
things, the
to
only
this
good thing that came out of that
Person who's
relationship. Yeah.
not a rock star.
Not a rock
Thank
star.
you. He's probably going to watch this.
Probably. Like, what do you mean? I am a rock star.
Yeah, I am a rock star. I still wear sunglasses and smoke.
Yeah, in bed.
Okay, so I'm really excited that you're here. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, you're a rock star
No.
in my
No.
eyes.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, let it be heard. So, how did you end up in LA? Like, you have kind of a crazy story about how you got here.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. So when I was a teenager, I graduated high school pretty early, and I wanted to go to college in New York. I'm originally from Denver. And the summer before I was supposed to go to college in New York, I did a road trip kind of across the country from Denver towards eastwards. And I stopped in New Orleans with, it was a friend of mine. Her name's Anna, who I actually haven't talked to since then. So it's
Shout
pretty
out
crazy.
Anna.
Shout out to Anna. We drove her little Kia Rio across the country, stopped in New Orleans, and I randomly happened to meet Trent Reznor, who is from Nine Inch Nails. I don't think I need to explain who he is, but just in case. And he gave us a tour of his studio.
Okay,
in New
wait,
Orleans.
back up.
Okay,
How did
okay.
you meet Trent Reznor?
On the street. So I'm trying to remember exactly how it happened. I think someone in his entourage was at a snow cone stand that we were at. It was August in New Orleans. It was hot as fuck. So we were at a snow cone stand, and he said, "Oh, I work at the studio across the street. Do you want a tour?"
And so, like, this guy didn't know you were a musician or
No.
anything.
No. And
That's
so
wild.
we go into the studio, and Trent's there, and we get a tour of the studio and meet Trent. And me being the very, like, cocky teenager I was like, well, I'm a musician too. I play music too if you ever want to hear my song. And I wrote down my number or something and left. And he called me. Trent called me the next day and was like, oh, we want to hear your songs. I think they were really bored, to be honest. And so I had this really shitty like pawn shop guitar, and I went and I think it was, I'm trying to remember correctly, Atticus Ross and Alan Moulder, a bunch of very like high level, powerful producers and musicians were there because they
Did
were
you know who
working.
these people were? Were you like already a Nine Inch Nails fan, or were
I
you a
was
fan
never
of
a
this
Nine
world?
Inch Nails fan.
Ooh,
I can't say I'm a Nine Inch
salty.
Nails fan. I mean, not even in a salty way. It was just a different genre.
It wasn't something that you were like listening to actively.
No, never. It was just, I was more into punk rock and indie rock, and Nine Inch Nails was never like, the goth music scene was not me. I think also I grew up in actually a goth industrial nightclub that my dad owned, and maybe because of that I rebelled and listened to punk music instead of goth or new wave. So
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I obviously knew who Trent Reznor was, but I was also 17. It just wasn't my era really at that time. So but he was recording his like big comeback record or whatever there, and I knew who Alan Moulder was because he had worked with My Bloody Valentine, and that was more my speed. So I was more starstruck by him probably. But then they sat me down and they all just sat there in the studio and gave me, said, okay, just play a song.
Did you just like play a song on your guitar?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. So you didn't even play them a recording. You
I
performed.
Yeah.
Were you nervous, or did you go into like your flow state that
I
you
definitely
always go into?
didn't act like I was nervous, but I do remember playing the song really fast and being like, wow, I think I did that like twice as fast as usual. So obviously something in me was pretty hyped up.
Yeah.
But and then from there, Trent just said, if you want to record a demo, you could record a demo here tonight with my people and my crew, and we'll set you up in a studio and record a demo.
What was your friend Anna doing during this time?
Like, she was pretty weirded out, I think. Or just
like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I thought we were going on a road trip.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's many experiences Anna had with me that probably scarred her for life. But yeah, I recorded that night, and that was the beginning of, instead of going to college in New York, I moved here and lived and worked with Trent, and then opened for Nine Inch Nails as a teenager, and then again a few years later, and then again a few years later.
Yeah.
And it's always been pretty strange because I don't play music like that, like Nine Inch Nails. It's a very odd pairing. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
Right. So that's how you got out here. Was this ever like a plan in your mind ever to like move to Los Angeles as a kid?
Always hated LA. Actually, my same friend Anna, we drove here during like a spring break one year, and we stayed at a youth hostel not too far from here called the HollyWould Gershwin. It's in Thai Town. And we were supposed to be here for a few days. After one night, I was like, this place is horrendous. Hollywood's horrendous. I never want to come back here again. Went back to Denver, decided I wanted to go to New York, go to the East Coast for school. And then 6 months later, I'm living here, and then have lived here now for the better part of, 20 years.
But you're
Long
leaving.
time. I'm leaving.
I'm leaving.
I'm leaving.
She's leaving us. She hates Hollywood. She's leaving. You heard it here first. London calling.
Yeah, moving to London. It's time. 20 years too late.
I get it. It's okay. Not everyone needs to love Hollywood.
I could see the good in it.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough. Not for me.
Yeah. It's just not for you.
It's not for me. Never has been. And I think it's like a toxic relationship with a city, it feels like. Like, it's like Hollywood is the guy who just gives you just enough to keep trying.
Do you think that that's your relationship to Hollywood, or is that your relationship to the music industry?
It's synonymous for me. Like, Hollywood is the music industry for me,
Yeah.
It's just all I've
That's all
known
you've
here.
done here.
Yeah.
So when you were like new here and you were working with Trent and you were making music, and before you were dating this other guy, you did work as, I don't even have this in my notes, but I just remembered and I want to talk about it. You worked at the Standard.
Yes.
Back in the day, there were these, there's a hotel called the Standard. It still exists, right?
I don't know if the one here exists anymore.
I don't know.
It was
but
a big thing then.
it was a big thing.
Mid-2000s,
And there
yeah.
were these like glass giant aquariums that women would sit in their underwear. And Carré was one of those.
I was,
girls.
yeah. It was big thing on my resume.
Yeah.
Highlight of my resume. Yeah, it was one of those weird jobs that, I don't know. It is such a Hollywood thing,
It's
too. It is
only
such a
here.
Hollywood thing.
Yeah.
I just wore little white panties and a little white wife beater and was in a glass box in this hotel lobby. That was my job, was to just sit in this glass box.
Was it like an 8-hour shift?
Yeah, it was 7 or 8 hours. But you could do whatever you want. You just did it in the box. You're like living decor, and people, you know, observed you.
Would
do
people take
normal life
pictures
stuff.
of you and stuff?
Yeah, but this was still pre like iPhone.
Right. Oh,
You
that's
know?
right. That's right. I almost got that job. I can't remember why I didn't. Maybe it's because I worked at the Saddle Ranch instead, across the street.
You win.
I mean, I didn't last very long, but like people would like pay me to ride the bull.
Yeah, see, that's a little bit too much effort. I think the
Your
the,
job was
I think
better.
just
'cause you
laying
could
around
stay
the box
there.
is better. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
I
could-
don't know why
yeah.
I didn't get that job. Maybe I didn't get it. Maybe like they didn't give it to me. I think I tried to get it.
I feel like, yeah, I don't know. There was nothing on my resume at that point that would give me a leg up for that position.
I did end
but
up being Swan Princess at the Marc Jacobs store. So I
That's
was
nice.
in the window.
It's more elevated.
And I did wear couture.
Yeah, exactly.
And I
It's
was
way
in
more
a swan
elevated.
boat, and I was in the window just like laying in the swan boat all day.
That's pretty nice.
It was such a fucking great job. I swear I would do that job today. It was the
I
best.
was gonna say, are they hiring?
It was like the best job I've ever had. People would come in, like celebrities would come in and have their kids take pictures with me. And that
So you're
was-
like a mall Santa kind of.
I was a
Yeah.
mall Santa. That was the only annoying part, when I had to like sit up and smile.
Yeah.
But I also was always like hungover, and like I was like doing heroin at the time. So
Mall Santa.
mall Santa. Yeah, I probably reeked of booze just like a mall Santa.
I love it.
It was so classy.
I love it.
It was great. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about. So you kind of got in this whole world of like these rock stars, these like way older rock stars, going on tour with them. And you were more like a guy's girl. You were like one of the guys. Like I wonder sort of how this happened, where like I ended up being the person everyone was having sex with, and you ended up being like the cool guy's girl. Like,
Well, it's funny because I think, I don't know if funny is the right word, but both of those positions, the one you were fulfilling, the one I was fulfilling, comes with probably equally the same amount of shame in a way. Like
Mhm.
at least during that time, you know, it's like, okay, you may have been the one sleeping with all of them, and I was the one who was like talking shit about girls like you with all of them.
yeah.
But it was still kind of this delusional position where you feel like you're in a position of power but aren't, you know. And I think because I was so young, there were things, I was shy, I was awkward in a lot of ways, I was not flirtatious, so I didn't put myself out there
And you
in
never
the same
got
way.
into drugs.
No, I've done a lot of drugs, none of them stuck. I tried hard.
It's impressive though. I mean, I guess, yeah, some people just don't
It just never clicked with me. It's
Just
not like I wasn't
get into
trying.
it.
I tried, but it just never clicked with me. I just kind of feel the same always. There was no drug that made me feel good enough where I was like, where it became a vice. I was like, this is okay, but you know, I'm hard to impress.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're really hard to impress.
But yeah, I think I just fell into, because of just my character at the time, just being kind of an introvert and not very flirtatious, not much of a partier, I was scooped up and kind of given this. I mean, I wasn't part of the boys' club, but I thought I was.
You were like, yeah, like a kid sister or something.
Yeah, I mean, fucked up shit happened. There was fucked up shit
So
happening.
what are some things that would happen on tour that you would witness? And this isn't about any like person that you toured with in particular, but just tours in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think the shame I mentioned is like, I spent a lot of years in my younger years feeling like I was a feminist, and really feeling like a really powerful, independent woman, or trying to be. And then I would go on the road and see horrible things happen to women and kind of have to, and feel pressure to kind of laugh it off with the dudes.
Right.
Because if I'm going to be welcome in their club, I can't call them out on their shit.
Yeah.
But my personality by nature, like I call people out on their shit,
Totally.
So I was like priding myself in that way. But then on the other hand, I wasn't speaking up for women at all. I was actually doing the opposite, where I was like not only enabling it, but kind of laughing it off.
Yeah.
And it's a hard position to be in.
But also, like, at that age, you're so young. I mean, even now today, the industry is so male-dominated. Like, the only way in and the only way to, like, succeed is to sort of play
the game.
their game.
Yeah, it's true.
Whichever path you take, whether you're, like, the sex object or the one of the guys, you're still having to, like, cater to all of these men and their egos. We were just talking on the way here about what did we say? Like, the most dangerous men are the ones with like deep insecurities and too much power.
Yeah, I think that's the most dangerous combo, is when you have men who are deeply insecure but also hold positions of power, and that's your rock star. That's every rock star. Really, honestly, I know a lot of rock stars, and I would say 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
that's how it is. There's
of course there are exceptions.
People, of course, disclaimer.
There are exceptions. There are some good rock stars out there.
There are, but there's a level of insecurity that comes with, I think, fame too. Like, the more famous people I know, like, the more insecure they are. But then they're in a position of power, and so it's a very toxic. It's not good. It's not a good combo.
Yeah.
There's very fragile egos, but then they're power tripping all the time. So it's hard because this industry as well as I do. Like, you have to play the game to survive it, to survive in it, and you're trying to get ahead and make things work for yourself. You feel a lot of pressure to stay quiet because you don't want to be the party pooper, or you don't want to burn bridges, and it's hard. It's a very fine balance. And there's been times where I've spoken up and paid a price for it.
Right.
Many times.
Many times.
Continuously still happening to this day,
Yeah.
So you kind of have to choose your battles, and it's hard being a woman in this industry with a conscience, because of that, because you kind of have to put your integrity sometimes in the back seat.
Well, yeah. I mean, you were just recently sued. I don't want to get you sued again.
I was going to say,
know if you can even talk about that. But
yeah, I was recently sued. Yeah,
we're sued for defamation, and
I won.
You won
because defamation is defended by the truth. If it's true, it's not defamation.
Wow.
So, but yeah, it was scary, and it was hugely financially and emotionally draining, to say the least, But yes, my ex-husband, who's, I guess, a rock star, but D-list, very, very down the list.
And that is truth.
It's
so
truth,
that's not defamation.
That's not defamation. I think that's like, right? It's globally known. It's a globally known fact. But yeah, he sued me for defamation.
How did you end up marrying him? Or can you say it?
Really good question. I mean, it's bizarre because we definitely weren't in the same music scene.
Yeah.
At all.
How did you meet him?
I think he tweeted at me.
Ooh.
I don't know. What's strange is that our mutual friend was Trent Reznor.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a little bit of trust there, or at least knowing, like, okay, we kind of know the same people.
Yeah.
But we're definitely not in the same scene. Yeah, slightly. But, I don't really know how it happened, but it happened really fast. And it was crazy. It was a crazy, crazy, crazy experience. And we've been divorced for a while now, but I did make a record called Couples Only, and it was
And it's an amazing record, and everybody needs to go out and listen to it immediately.
Thank you. Thank you. I definitely it was the hardest record I've ever made, but the most important probably thus far. And of course, subject matter, there's a lot of subject matter in there, but some of it was about the end of this relationship and going through a divorce and starting over. But all in song and lyrics, but press picked up on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sued me for defamation
Because of what press had said.
what had press, like record reviews that press had given me. And I think his lawyers also cited lyrics.
That's so terrifying. I mean, it's really, really scary that you could just be financially drained in that way. Like, you have to fight these battles.
Yeah.
It could happen to any of us, any
Yeah.
artist who
Well, it's also-
speaks about their lives.
And also just the power dynamic once again, in this country at least. If you have more money, you can continue to just
Yeah, you can
sue
just frivolously
people.
sue
Yeah,
people and
yeah.
fuck them.
Yeah. I mean, I think technically speaking, he was saying that I wasn't allowed to say anything negative about him because that was an agreement in our divorce,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't. We agreed not to defame each other. But once again, truth is not defamation.
Right. That's wild. And yeah, you said so little. I want to back up a little bit because before
Who else
you
can I get sued
were-
by?
Yeah.
Look at your list.
Let's see. I've got a whole list of rock stars over here that we can defame. I mean, we could,
We could,
but
but
we're not going
I don't
to.
have the money to
Please
fight
don't
multiple.
sue us. We're
Yeah.
poor.
Yeah.
So I also want to talk about how you ended up working at Crazy Girls because it's a really interesting story to me. And I know you're cutting it out of something else you're working on. So yeah, everything that you don't want to talk about
We're
anywhere
talking
else,
about.
we're going to talk about here.
Yeah. Yeah, so Crazy
Because
Girls
also you're just like not that, I just would never think of this from you
as an exotic dancer.
as an exotic dancer because you are the guy's girl, you know?
Yeah.
So how did you decide to do that?
I mean, I think initially it was a dare, and I was still young and didn't like being told I couldn't do something. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can do this. But yeah, Crazy Girls was at the time a pretty notorious exotic dancer bikini bar, technically, I guess, that
Yeah.
was frequented by celebrities and whatever.
It was kind of the spot.
It was the
I
spot.
played shows there with my band.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was in a very low spot in my life in general. One of the many low points in my life. And I was broke, of course. And I had a friend, I was waiting tables, and I had a friend who would just come in every day with, like, her purse was just overflowing with cash. And she was a sex pot. So I was like, what is going, She said, oh, I'm a dancer. Like at night, I dance at Crazy Girls. And I make a shit ton of money. And I was like, whoa, can I dance at Crazy Girls and make a shit ton of money? And she was like, no. It's like, come on,
Yeah.
So then I showed up and I
then
did.
you were like, I'll show
you. But what was so depressing, I mean, like, honestly, this is one of the lowest points in my life, was I show up in these big shoes. I think I watched, like, my gay best friend and I rented movies that have, like, stripper scenes in it, like even strip tease or something. You just stuff to show me what strippers did, because I had never been in a strip club, nothing.
You were like determined. This girl said you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then you were like, I will show her. So you
Yeah.
studied.
Yeah, I
Like
watched the
good
movies.
student you are.
Yes, exactly. The Asian in me, I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it well. So I got the outfit at like Frederick's of Hollywood and got the shoes and, clomped around and watched, Demi Moore do it or whatever. I said, oh, I can do this. Oh, God. So we get there, and the first thing they do is they just put you on stage. I said, okay, well, let's see. And just by chance and my great luck, I get up on stage and the DJ puts on a song. And you know how there's music? The music video is played on all the screens around the club. So you're just surrounded by the music video for the song. And it was a Nine Inch Nails song. I was like, really? Just rub salt into the wound. It was just like insult to injury. So
My God.
Yeah.
All the songs.
Mhm,
And
out
like,
of all
where
the
was your
songs.
music career at that point?
no, there was no music career. It was in the dumps. It was so bad. I was just like, had given up on everything, and it was a huge slap in the face. And I remember my friend came with me for the audition and he just gasped and he was prepared to just carry me off the stage and like rush me out. But I did it.
It probably pushed you to dance even harder.
I guess.
Those
Just complete dissociation. I was
eyes
just
watching
like,
you.
yeah. It's like,
Oh
I'll
my
show
God.
you. But yeah, I mean, I got the job. I struggled to learn how to give a lap dance. That was awkward because in the movies you don't like really touch all that much. Like I thought a lap dance was just kind of dancing around
Yeah.
the person, not like grinding on the person. I learned that the
You
hard
had
way.
to learn how to grind on people?
Yeah, a very hot Russian girl had to school me on that. So
And you just were doing this all stone cold sober.
yeah, I was like drinking cherry cokes at the bar.
Oh my God.
It's a very weird like
How-
experiment, I guess. It's
That's
like,
yeah.
what am I capable
I mean,
of?
I get it. I do all kinds of weird experiments on
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
It's like,
And the money was really good, honestly. It was really, really good. And there's something empowering about it. It's one of those things that, it works both ways.
yeah.
It could work both ways,
Totally. So what are some like crazy things that happened at Crazy Girls?
Well, I made good friends with Dave Navarro, who's a rock star, who's a good one in my book.
I've heard he's a good one.
Yeah,
I've heard
he
from a few
is.
people.
I mean, at least the experience I had with him, he was very kind and funny and real. But we became really good friends. He would bring me grilled cheese.
Shout out Dave Navarro.
Yeah. Yeah, he was really nice. And I think he managed me for a second. I don't know. But he was great. There were other people who came in who I probably shouldn't name, but not so great.
Oh,
I
damn.
think so it was awkward in those ways. It was awkward when an ex of mine and his new girlfriend came in.
No.
Yeah, that wasn't great. Not a great experience.
No.
Yeah.
That's not a great experience.
Not a great experience. But it was also just I think it made me a less judgmental person.
Mm-hmm.
Less judgmental of others and myself, other women and myself. It's just kind of one of those things where, everyone's just doing what they have to do to survive. It's just that simple.
Yeah, LA is so weird about like jobs and working
Mhm.
and people. I mean, I really thought I can't have a job. Like it'll be so embarrassing. It'll be proof that I've failed.
Yeah.
And if anyone ever sees me like working some regular job, I'll just die. And it's so weird. This is the only town in the world.
We're having a job
We're having
that
a
you're
job.
ashamed of.
It's like
I know.
being a loser.
I know.
What is that?
It's so hard. It's one of the reasons why I really struggle to live here, honestly, because I definitely always need a job. No matter what
Yeah.
artistic endeavor, I'm always in need of a job. And working at Crazy Girls Dancing was a very well-paid job.
Yeah.
And
And when you do have some money in your pocket, you are more powerful. You
Yeah.
feel better.
definitely. So, but it was hard because there were people who came in and definitely laughed at me. And
Ugh.
yeah, it was rough.
You're out there
Yeah.
watching this.
And honestly, a lot of women gave me a lot of shit for it. I mean, I know times have changed a little in the right direction, but I felt a lot of shaming from women.
I mean, I believe that. Sadly, yeah. I think it's hard. I think we have like such internalized misogyny that it's just starting to change, or maybe we're just starting to be more aware of it. This is the year that I became friends with all of my ex-girlfriends. It's like
The
I
other
swear,
women. You
this-
became friends with the other
I
women.
became
Yeah.
friends with all the other women this year, and it's like, oh, we're all like, we're friends, we're helping each other. We were all arch enemies. Like even meeting you, I heard
Yeah.
that girl hates you, and I'm like,
I mean, that's a patriarchy,
this
though,
is
at
what we're
work.
supposed to do. We're supposed to hate each other.
Yeah, exactly. It only serves a patriarchy to like pit each other, be pitted against each other. And in the music industry, especially, I mean, I can only speak to the rock genre because that's the one I'm in. But for so long, there could only be one token girl,
Right.
you know, and so every other girl is a threat.
Yeah.
Because there's only limited space for a girl in a rock band or a girl fronting a rock band. So I definitely wasn't a girl's girl for a long time because of that.
Yeah.
And now I think going through my divorce, I really realized the value of friendships with women.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah, definitely.
a huge deal. It's
Yeah.
so meaningful to me. So
Wow, that's
it's kind of part of
interesting.
growing up, though, I think, is
Yeah. I mean, I've always thought of myself as a girl's girl, but I certainly haven't behaved
yeah,
that way.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's the disconnect.
Yeah.
And I do think that's very Hollywood or entertainment industry related.
It's true. Yeah. Because as women in any position, there can only be one. There's only
Mm-hmm.
room for one. As far as like the music industry goes, yeah, what is your experience been? Like times you've given up, what does that look like?
Every
and like
day.
how have you come back and
You know,
where are you now? I mean, I know, but I think it's
Yeah.
interesting to talk about because
and
I've given
people-
up completely.
yeah.
I've turned my back 100% on the music industry. I never thought I would do that.
It's not a popular topic that, you know, I've done a lot of press for my records and I did a lot of press last year and I was more open about my reluctance to being part of the music industry still. And I was open about how I actually don't love music. You know, it's what I do, it's who I am, but it's almost like a toxic relationship
Yeah.
for me because, I mean, it's complicated. Like, it's not that I don't love music. I love music.
Music itself.
But
Yeah.
being part of this industry is really horrible, I find.
Right.
It's been really unhealthy for me. It's given me, there's a lot of insecurity wrapped up in it, a lot of ego wrapped up in it. I don't know why I do certain things, like even touring. I used to tour relentlessly, and I now wonder why. Like, what I'm actually getting out of this? Is it just an ego thing? And I know it's more than that, but it's very convoluted. Everything's very, it's a complex thing, you know, especially when you do it for so long. That's your identity.
How did you start playing music in the first place? Like, what was the seed in the very beginning, baby Carré?
It was because I was a writer. I always wanted to be a writer. And I think I struggled to articulate verbally and in the written form. But when you put music to it, you could be a little more vague and nuanced.
Yeah.
And music helps set the mood, set the tone. It's emotional. So it was my way of, it's like a cathartic thing where I could be emotional through sound and express myself through sound without having to articulate everything verbally. But I felt very connected to my lyrics. And then pairing the sound with it and being able to use sound as my voice too. It was the only cathartic thing I had, actually, the only outlet I had growing up.
How old were you when you started playing?
I was in the 6th grade when I started a band with my classmates called Population 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that name?
There were 3 of us, and I was very clever, clearly.
Guess what my first band was called?
What?
Dynamite Lover.
I love that. How old are you? You're like 5.
No, but it's so like I didn't understand like the double entendre.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I just was like, yeah, I like to blow shit up.
Yeah, yeah.
Dad was like,
no.
I don't like that name. And I'm like, why?
Like, that's not age appropriate.
Of course, mine was like sexual.
I love that. Yeah, it was, I got into it young, but then I was also surrounded by music just being in a nightclub all the time.
Yeah, what was I actually don't know about your dad's goth nightclub.
It's weird. It's a weird situation. It's like Denver out of all places, but he had the most successful, like famous industrial goth nightclub that opened the same year I was born and was open for 20 years actually. And every birthday party I had was there.
Oh my God.
Tim Curry was always there for some reason. Divine was
Oh
there.
my God, that is so weird.
Like
Somebody
Skinny Puppy would play
just
there.
DM'd me like 2 days ago and was like, you're the female Tim Curry.
What? Wait, did they give an explanation?
No.
I'm failing to connect.
I was like, why don't you know about this?
I don't know how you should feel about that.
Heard
Yeah.
that name.
That's really
in so
now I'm
long.
trying to like pick what's going on. I don't know.
Okay, so Tim Curry was
Yeah,
at your
just a
birthday
lot of-
party.
Yeah, just a lot of like random weird people like that. It was like kind of the hangout place. It was like the Studio 54 of Denver, which is very strange.
Weird.
Yeah.
Did, like Trent and those guys know about your dad's club?
Probably not. I don't know. I mean, I know the Smashing Pumpkins went through there, Skinny Puppy, but I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, so I just grew up there in that scene at a very, very, like, from birth up until, I mean, I was bartending there when I was 15. That was kind of my first job. So it was a big part of my upbringing to just be surrounded by music.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean that definitely brings like the sort of one of the guys thing, and just like being around all these band guys. Like
Yeah.
obviously I had that experience too
Yeah.
with my dad
the band guy.
in a band.
Yeah.
Just like guys, like band guys
Yeah.
around and feeling very comfortable
Yeah,
in
exactly.
that world. And like there's a certain way like musicians talk and hang out and relate to each other that is like home.
Yeah. And I also think that when it becomes something that's comfortable and isn't like a star-studded thing, I find that at least male celebrities really like it when you're not at first starstruck by them. It's like a game.
Yeah.
Because I have seemed to fall into this role of being like a rock star magnet.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I doing that is making rock stars want to DM me and like hang out and be friends, you know? And it's like, oh, it's because I show zero interest.
Yes, and you know, all the rock stars I've dated, I've never listened to their bands. I didn't care.
Yeah,
I
you
wasn't
didn't care.
into them.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan. They were just like another guy. And then I would like see how big of a deal they were in the world and be like, whoa, wait, what?
That bites you in the ass, though, I find, because at least, I mean, in my experience, especially with my marriage, it was, oh, I really love this about you. I love that you're not some huge fangirl and that you're not kissing my ass all the time. That's more interesting and it's more of a challenge. But
Yeah.
then I think they get tired of that. They're like, wait, how come you're not kissing my ass
Yes.
yet?
And then they're like,
like,
oh,
I actually want you to kiss my ass and think I'm amazing.
I need to go find someone who's going to feed my ego.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because you're not doing it.
Yeah,
You're not
exactly.
Still not impressed.
You're
I
not
still haven't
side
won
stage
you
singing.
over.
You're not side stage singing all the lyrics, you know.
Yeah. Also, like having your own thing, I think, is super intimidating.
Threatening, for
to
sure.
Most of these guys.
Yeah, I wasn't cut out to be a rock star's wife. I've
Yeah.
figured that much out real fast.
Yeah. Would you ever date a rock star again?
No, never,
I don't think I would either.
never. I'm actually so turned off by fame in general. I just think it's like we were talking about, you know, it's a lot of fragile egos with a lot of power. And that's just not a good combo
Yeah.
in a relationship or in the world or anything. You know, it's not good.
It's not good. Oh,
I don't want to interrupt because it's
No.
so good.
no, tell
I
us.
would I'm curious to know like what you're doing now and why maybe you're moving to London, and then I would start to wrap it up.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
yes.
We could just
You
go
have
on
a mic,
forever.
right? So we've
I
heard
know.
that.
We're still, yeah. Hi.
That's Cristiana. That's our producer.
Um,
Yeah, what is
now?
going
I'm like,
on
what
now?
am I
You are
doing
going
now?
on tour like tomorrow.
Yeah, I am. I
It
was
won't
just
come
like,
out
what am I
till
gonna-
I was gonna say
the tour will be over
the
by
tour
then.
will be done.
But yeah, in real time, I'm going on tour in a couple days with the Dandy Warhols and the Black Angels. And then I'm moving to London, which I'm really excited about. I'm doing some work with our friend Roger from The Cure.
Shout out Roger.
Love Roger.
we
He's
love
a good
Roger.
one.
He's a good one.
And yeah, most of my fan base has been in the UK and Europe anyway, so might as well go where I'm wanted.
Are you gonna make another record?
Supposedly. Every record I make, I'm like, this is the last one. I quit music, and then somehow I get roped into making another.
I know.
So,
you're so
I don't know.
good, though. I
Oh,
want you to
thank
make
you.
another record.
Thank you. I will
You are
just
the
for you.
craziest, best performer I've ever seen in my life.
I'm
Like,
gonna cry.
I'm so excited to come see you play on Friday.
Thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
How do you do that? Before we go, what is that?
What's the secret?
Yeah, what's your secret? Like you don't give a fuck on
it's
stage.
that. I think when I'm on stage is actually the only time I'm not performing
Have
at
you
all.
always been this uninhibited?
Yeah. I've just fucked up in so many ways in front of so many people my whole life that I just am not scared of it. I guess that's it. Also, I have this thing where I just click into a flow state and nothing's like really, I'm not really conscious of anything.
Yeah.
I don't think about it, but it is something I feel is like, it's weird because it's performance, but it's so natural to me. So yeah, I guess that's, nothing's ever thought out, you know?
Yeah.
But there's a risk there. Like sometimes things are really bad. Like it doesn't always go well. Sometimes it's a shit show, but that's okay, you know? That's
Yeah.
just, I think
Well,
that's what makes
I
it
mean,
exciting though.
Sometimes
it's real.
it's a shit show, even if you're the most controlled performer on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, performing is such a, like anything live is, it's a crapshoot
Yeah.
every time.
Exactly. So I just embrace it. I commit to that.
And then you're moving to London. Do you want to talk about any of the writing you're doing? You want to keep it on the hush hush?
I think we could talk about it. I'm writing a book.
Yes, we're
Maybe.
both
We're both writing.
writing books.
And I'm excited. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited for you.
All right. Well, I'm excited for you.
Okay. Best
well,
friends.
Just best friends forever. I'm going to come hang out in London
And we'll write our book.
and we'll write our books together. It's so fun.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. Oh, let's talk about where everyone can find you. If you can just like say all your
Oh yeah, it's
socials and
Queen Kwong, which is Queen Queen, and then Kwong Kwong, and that's on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I think those are the only ones.
all
Yeah.
same everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll link everything in the show notes.
Thanks.
So it'll be easy to just click the link, get Queen Kwong's albums, all of them. The new one is so fucking good. I listen to
Thank
it all the
you.
time. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks.
I
That
really
was fun.
appreciate it.
Of course. I love talking shit with you.
I know. Thank you so much for joining us on the HollyWould Podcast. I am your host, Holly Solom, and you can find me on Instagram at Holly M. Solom. Same with like TikTok and Twitter and all that shit, I think. And then my Substack is at HollyWould, HollyWould. We'll see you next time.
I just wanna get effed up and dance. This is our only chance. Happiness is fleeting. This